Hey, it's Andryanna, and welcome to The Juggle is Real. Today, I'm coming at you with a bit of a cold. I know I cannot believe it. I somehow managed to sail through cold and flu season, all fall and all winter, extremely healthy. And now I've wound up with a bit of a sniffle, but that's okay. I feel good. I feel great. I just have a little bit of nasally sounding voice. So you'll have to bear with me because we do have a really good episode as we find ourselves in May. And it's a great month. Gosh, I love May. It's sort of on the heels of the beginning of spring, and we're starting to actually see the May flowers that those April showers were bringing. And it is a beautiful season and part of the year. But while it is lovely, it's also kind of exhausting, right? Because May, especially if you are in the States or in parts of the world where May is the last month of your school year for your kids, June, that's for me in Canada, these months are really busy. And that's why we have dubbed it Maycember, because May can sometimes rival that busyness feeling in December where everything is sort of jumbled into one. And so if you're ever, feeling like I can't, there's just so much, you're not alone. And so I want to unpack in this episode why this time can feel really overwhelming. Let's recognize it, but let's also explore some strategies to navigate it with grace and keep our sanity. So I want to talk about, understanding it, the emotional toll that we take, some helpful strategies that we can use to navigate these busy months, how we can embrace it a little bit more, and how we can get started in that preparation for the summer months. So if that sounds good to you, let's dive in.
This is the Juggle is Real podcast. I hope you feel seen, that you realize your worth, lighten your load, and prioritize your own needs. As we hear from leading experts and well-known faces in the wellness, entrepreneurship, education, and motherhood space, I hope you gain insights, proven practices, and learn actionable tools to help you enjoy the juggle of work, family, and everything in between with a little less stress and a lot more ease, joy, and fun. Most of all, I hope you find what you need to simplify, streamline, and supercharge your own journey of better balance and self-love. Are you with me? Let's get started.
This episode of The Juggle is Real is supported by Marshalls. If you're listening to this, I want you to know that you deserve a win right now. Yes, you. And honestly, that win could be as simple as a few fresh spring pieces for your wardrobe that make you feel like yourself again, without the stress or the splurge. This is why I love shopping at Marshalls. Whether I need an easy dress that makes me feel polished, a perfect last-minute gift, or a little something to add joy to my everyday routine, Marshalls delivers. You know that feeling when you walk into a store and you spot something that makes you go, yes, that is exactly what I needed, even if you didn't quite know what you were looking for? Well, that's a Marshalls moment, and it's why it's one of my favorite places to find those feel-good wins that brighten up the everyday. Plus, new pieces arrive every day, so no two visits are the same. And with amazing value and prices, you can refresh your wardrobe, grab new self-care pieces to add to your routine, or pick up a thoughtful gift without overthinking or overspending. With Mother's Day coming up, a Marshalls gift card is honestly such an easy, flexible, and thoughtful way to treat the moms in your life. Because half the fun is getting to go in and have the experience of finding the perfect thing. Moms deserve more than just a quick thanks this season. I know you know that, because we deserve to feel great, to look great, and enjoy shopping for something that's just for us. So this spring, refresh your routine, simplify your gifting, and feel good doing it. Head to your local Marshalls store today to find what you need and more. Marshalls, real brands, real savings, really. The Juggle is Real is supported by Elate. You know I'm all about simplifying wherever we can. And that includes how we take care of ourselves. So when I find something that's thoughtful, sustainable, and actually works for my real everyday life, I want to share it. And that's why I've been using Elate and their capsule beauty system. Elate has designed this beautiful capsule beauty system to keep your daily essentials in one place. It's refillable, intentional, and beautifully low waste. Elate's palettes are made from bamboo and are totally customizable. You just pop in your go-tos and refill as needed. My favorites lately are the blush balm, the concealer, brow balm, and a couple of eye colors for a quick, fresh face in under 5 minutes. And the good gloss, well, it is great. It should be called the great gloss because it is the perfect swipe and go finish. It's really hydrating, it is clean, and it's so easy. Elate is a female-owned, B Corp certified Canadian company that is all about doing beauty differently. Everything is vegan, cruelty-free, and sustainably packaged, which makes it an amazing feel-good Mother's Day gift or just a way to treat yourself without the clutter. You can check it out at elatebeauty.com. That's Elate, Elate, beauty.com. elatebeauty.com. Now let's get back to the episode. Okay, so this term, Maycember, I don't know if you've heard it before. It's become pretty popular. And I think the originators of this word, Maycember, it was popularized by the Holderness family. I know you know who the Holderness family is. You know, they have the most hilarious, amazing songs and jingles and TikToks and Instagram reels. And basically, they were highlighting the end of the school year frenzy that mirrors the holiday season's chaos. So we're talking school concerts and the field trips and graduations, and there's all sorts of tournaments and sports and activities and dance competitions. And our calendars are just bursting at the seams. Like it is a wild ride. And of course, we've got all of the other things happening too with work and homes. And, you know, the juggle is real, right? That's why you're listening. According to a study published by the Australian Journal of Social Issues, employed mothers, we experience high levels of time pressure because we're juggling all of these roles and we don't necessarily have the sufficient time for necessary or even discretionary activities. So this is what we call time poverty. We do not have enough time and it leads to increased stress and decreased well-being. So this research can also indicate that women worldwide, we are subject to a pink tax. And yes, you've probably heard of a pink tax on things that are specifically for women, where the pink tax is on things like, you know, menstrual products or women's razors and that sort of thing. But this pink tax is not just for things that we're purchasing financially, but it's also in terms of our time. Because we as women, we have less leisure time than men because we take on greater domestic responsibilities. We are handling the childcare, more housework, more administrative tasks, in addition to our job duties and the things in our roles that we're playing every single day. So I don't want this to be like a doom and gloom episode, but I do want to recognize that, yeah, it's wild. Okay. There's just a lot going on. And so, of course, this does have an emotional toll. So this pace, which can kind of be a bit relentless, if you're asking me, like we're heading on a hockey tournament tomorrow. We've got all these things to do. There's tests coming up. There's tryouts happening. There's spring teams. There's summer activities. There's work responsibilities. And this relentless pace can lead to the time poverty, right? Where there's just not enough time to meet all of the demands. So this Australian Journal of Social Issues, this study notes that multitasking and merging work and our home boundaries can really distort our temporal experience, and it diminishes the quality of the time because we're actually trying to do so many things at once. Everything is sort of blending together where we're maybe at work, but we're filling out school forms, or we're driving to soccer, but we're taking a work call. And it really distorts the temporal experience. diminishing the quality of time. We can't actually focus and enjoy and spend the time needed to actually complete these tasks and do the things that we want to do. And it's really not just about managing schedules. It's about the emotional labor of remembering all of the details, right? The mental load is just on overdrive with coordinating the logistics, ensuring that everyone's okay. And it's really often at the expense of our own well-being. And again, not all doom and gloom. Okay, we're going to get to some good stuff. But when we're looking at this, and if you're feeling that pinch right now, Melinda Gates has highlighted that women spend approximately 4.5 hours daily on unpaid work. That's more than double than men. And that significantly affects especially low income females who are in emerging economies. And so this issue is not only about gender inequality, but also it's a broader socioeconomic problem. And we were just having this discussion last week because it was the end of tax season and my sister-in-law is a tax accountant. And so it's just such a very busy time for her. She's working extremely long hours. Her family, there's 3 children, and her husband, who also has a career and works, was in charge of, all of the kids' activities and getting them to where they needed to go. And he was just saying, like, because my sister-in-law was working so much, like he couldn't stay on track with all of the things and getting the kids to where they needed to go or getting the laundry done. And there was no time for anything else. It was like laundry, make lunches, feed the kids, get them to where they need to go, and hopefully get some work done in there as well. And so we were just talking about, like, if you were a single parent and if you didn't have the means to, pick up takeout whenever you felt that crunch, or do the extra things, or spend money, or have those additional time and people to lean on when you felt that crunch. And so we're recognizing that there is definitely a lot when it comes to gender inequalities, but also socioeconomically, like there are things that we need to recognize and be supported by. We need to continually reach out to our members of parliament or the politicians and speak out on behalf of these issues. But again, we're not all doom and gloom. We want to make sure that we are not only navigating this busy time, this Maycember crunch, but that we do enjoy it, that we do actually find those pockets, those mere moments where we can pause, where we can regroup, where we can come back to ourselves and remember who we are and remember why we're doing this, and have the mindset of, we're getting through this with gratitude and with love and with joy. And so I do have some strategies for how we can navigate this. But I do think before we get into that, it's important to talk about just the mindset piece, right? And I know we talk about mindset a lot, and I know we talk about this perspective, but thinking about all that has to be done can be really overwhelming. And when we're doing it in a doom and gloom way and complaining about it and really just digging our heels, it's going to feel a lot harder. And then that's when we can really perpetuate the negative spiral. And when we're thinking about it, and yes, it is certainly busy, and yes, there are absolutely challenges whenever we're in a busy season. Having the perspective that you will get through it, and you'll get through to the other side, and you'll be better off because of it. I think when we can go through seasons like this, embracing imperfection and putting some boundaries in place, that's where we're really going to be able to find the sweet spot to be able to carry through with more ease and more joy. So I harp on this a lot, and I bring this up a lot, but especially during these busy periods, it's so important. It is crucial to release the pursuit of perfection, to understand that it's okay if we are not going with it, like every detail has to be completely flawless, right? When we can embrace the concept of good enough and focus on what truly matters, focus on the joy behind it, the connection that these events can bring. Like even if we're driving our kids, can we take those moments instead of pausing or yelling through traffic to try to connect with our children and have those moments with them? Or yes, we might be, doing laundry and it's late at night and we're feeling tired. Maybe that's when we can connect with our partner and have some conversations when we're doing these things together or putting on a favorite show and trying to make this crunch feel like there's a little bit less pressure. And maybe we don't, perfectly fold the laundry and it's not in the drawers every day. Maybe we're pulling out of a clean laundry basket and that's how we're getting our clothes in the morning. When we can embrace the imperfection and the concept of good enough, we're going to make it through to the other side feeling a lot better. And just a reminder here, our boundaries, putting those in place and setting them, especially during these busy periods, is really going to support us. And setting boundaries isn't always about just saying no and saying no to others. It's often about saying yes to yourself and your well-being and your emotional and your mental, health. And feminist economists argue that the traditional analysis of economics often ignores the value of household unpaid work. So recognizing and valuing this labor is really essential for achieving that gender parity in time management. So the more that we can understand this, we can put a tag to it and putting it in our calendars as this very valuable work. Perhaps we are bringing in someone to support us during these times, whether it is a family member, whether we are going to seek out paid support during these times when we can put those boundaries in place, understand that we're going to get through it. Sometimes we can bring in these supports as well. So let's talk about some strategies to navigate our Maycember. Number one, and I'm going to take a sip of my tea. Hopefully it makes my voice better. So the first thing I'm going to say is you're not alone. So why don't you implement a buddy system? Do it with someone who's in the same period, the same time as you, and connect with another parent so that you can, maybe there's like a text chain or a group chat that's not just, for gossiping or staying in touch, but it's really to share those reminders and those updates and, be there and help each other stay accountable to all of the things. So just last night, I had a mom text me like, oh, did your son bring home the review for tomorrow's test? Because my son forgot it and I would love to go through it. And thankfully, my son did remember. And so I was able to send a photo of that review to her so that she could go through it. So it's these things like, tomorrow is a school spirit day, or putting those things in place to remind ourselves. Maybe it's with another sports parent or a dance parent or activity parent to keep yourselves on track so that you can remember all of these updates that can sometimes be really hard to stay track of. It was highlighted in a Pure Wow article that having that text chain with another classroom parent or sports parent can really help you keep track of the events like the pajama days or the fundraiser deadlines or the things that can really pile up and you want to stay on track of, but sometimes you just need that little reminder. So the more help and support in those layers, that buddy system that you can have, the better off you'll be and them. And so you can, help each other stay on track. The next thing I'm going to say is to organize a drop-down system. And so this is kind of new to me, and it's an idea that some people use that I just want to throw out there because it can seem like it might add work to your plate, but then it really can make things a lot easier. So during the months of May and June, or those periods when there's just a flurry of activities and school events and theme days and extracurricular activities, it can make especially the mornings feel overwhelming. And if you're running straight from work to activities, one effective strategy to bring more order to the chaos is to implement this drop-down organizer system. So what am I talking about? So you know what I mean? Like those drop-down organizers, those hanging fabric storage things that you can, put makeup in if you're traveling, or those toiletries. It's that storage unit with multiple compartments, and you can have them labeled. Maybe it's for the days or each day of the week. And you can actually put in things like preparing your outfits. If you have to run after school, maybe it's like the dance shoes or the cleats or the things that you need in advance, or maybe there's a permission slip, or maybe there's things that you have to bring with you, the snacks that you want to have after school, all of that stuff. And it can really reduce that morning crunch time, that decision fatigue, and it can ensure that nothing is forgotten. So you could do this, say, for instance, on a Sunday, on a prep day, and you can dedicate time to review the week's schedule coming up. And you can put things in daily compartments. You can label it if that's what you want to do. You can do the planning of the outfits where you're putting in the complete outfit for each day or even for a few days in advance, including the accessories and special items, the sports gear, the themed attire, all into those little compartments. And you can include those reminders as well. So attaching the notes or the checklists or those additional items that are needed for that day, like the snacks or the permission slips. And so it can really reduce the morning stress. Having everything prepared can eliminate that last minute dash or trying to find lost items and have a search party for those missing things as you're already late and running out the door. It can empower your kids because they can independently go to their system, they can dress themselves, it can help foster that sense of responsibility and independence, and it can help enhance that time management. So you're streamlining your mornings, you're allowing for a more calm start to the day. It can really benefit everyone. And of course, it's not just about achieving perfection, which we've already talked about, but it's creating a manageable routine that supports you, especially, and your family's needs. And of course, I want you to recognize that it's okay to seek methods that simplify your tasks. So maybe you don't want to go out and buy this drop down organizer, but do you have like maybe a plastic basket or a bin or even like a cardboard box that's empty that you can use where you're putting things in place maybe the night before, maybe it's the week before, whatever is manageable for you. But by doing a little bit in advance, like a 10-minute prep, you're really investing in your well-being and setting that positive tone to move forward. It's like having something that your future self is going to be like so thankful for. So that is another thing that you can do. You can organize, you could do that little bit of a prep, whether you're doing the drop down system or some type of a system. Another thing that we can do that especially during Maycember or the crunch periods is to really lean into prioritizing and delegating. So you're recognizing during these periods, it is impossible for one person to do everything and be everyone and be everywhere all the time, right? You can do anything, but you can't do everything. And so recognizing that you can't do it all, that's step one. And then step two is going to be to determine what is essential and what can be skipped or what can be delegated and where do you need support. So if attending everything isn't feasible during this period, during this month, during this lead up to summer, you're going to prioritize and you're going to choose what is most meaningful for you and for your family. And yes, it might mean saying no. It might mean, respectfully and kindly releasing some things with love. Maybe you aren't, going to every single parent meeting, or you're not doing every single practice, or maybe it means that you're calling on someone to do some carpooling so that you aren't in such a crunch by trying to do everything yourself. When we can prioritize, maybe it's going to be super easy lunches and super easy meals that are quick and easy to prepare and very minimal cleanup. It could be a frozen pizza. It could be doing takeout more than you usually do. How can we prioritize what needs to be done with what's essential? What are those nice to have? And what are those things that, when push comes to shove, we have to release it or delegate it and bring in that support. I think having that, sort of that system in place where we can recognize, at the end of the day, am I going to be really exhausted? Is this going to overwhelm me? Is this going to make me super stressed out to try to race to all these places and dash across town to get to these things? If the answer is yes, then maybe we need to get another plan or say no. And that goes hand in hand with setting the boundaries that we've already kind of touched on. But you're really protecting your time by setting the clear boundaries. You might be limiting the weeknight commitments to ensure that you have a little bit of downtime scheduled, that you can go for that walk or that you can get a decent night's rest. And, people are sharing that when we are prioritizing sleep, when we're avoiding the things that are stressing us out or those weeknight plans that are ending us, feeling really overwhelmed, it's helping us to maintain that feeling of better balance during these really busy periods because we're waking up, we're feeling more refreshed, and we're able to be more efficient with what we are doing because we're feeling better doing it. And then the last thing that I'll say in terms of strategies for navigating these busy periods is looking to embrace perhaps a new parenting style during the crunch times. And maybe it's the type C parenting. Okay, so I don't, if you're not familiar, the type C parent is kind of a balance between a type A, like super on the ball, highly organized, like every, T's crossed and the I's are dotted and everything has to be perfect. And the type B is like the super laid back. Maybe they're late a lot. Maybe they're really, really go with the flow. And that parenting style combination is what we call type C. So the approach maintains some rules and so some routines, right? So some organization, some structure, but it also allows for some spontaneity, some going with the flow, some allowing and releasing, and allows for a bit more emotional connection, ultimately promoting healthier, self-trusting children. So can you maybe let go of a few things, and then can you maybe pick up some slack in other areas to combine type A and type B to embrace that type C parenting style? And it's going to look different for everyone. And you might know a little bit more about how you typically respond to things if you consider yourself more of a type A or type B parent, to combine the two. Maybe you're going to release a few things, or maybe you're going to add a few more things that's going to support you more to embrace this type C parenting style. So those are kind of the strategies, if you will, to navigate this busy period, because we're preparing, we're in this period where the light is at the end of the tunnel, where we're heading towards summer. And we want to prepare for summer, and we want to transition to our summer months and have a gentle transition. We want it to be smoother. We don't want to feel like a chicken with our head cut off racing around everywhere. So maybe we want to take an hour or a little bit of extra time over the weekend, or when you have a period where you can kind of lay things out, where you're looking to the things that you might want to do this summer. If you don't have a plan in place, whether that's enrolling your kids in camps or activities that align with their interests, looking at your schedule and if any changes have to happen, and carving out some space now for yourself, whether it is to pick up a hobby, sign up for a class yourself, or create those pockets where you're going to find that daily movement or that exercise, or when you're simply going to rest and have those down periods. So you can, during a time like now, you can reflect on what worked and what didn't work, and how you were feeling during this period last year and how you were feeling last summer. And you can look to these insights and adjust to prepare for this season, and having like some notes in place, or putting down a rough plan to have a meaningful and intentional way of how you want to go through this period can be really helpful in the preparation, because that there's something that you can lean on. And of course, things can change. And of course, we can release things and bring in that support and delegate when we need to. But having that preparation in place is going to be really helpful. And just knowing that things are kind of down and on paper, or that there is that sort of, even if it's a loose plan, can release a lot of that stress and that mental load, and trying to keep everything together and be everything to everyone. So yes, Maycember, it's undeniably a lot. It is a lot, but with the intentional strategies and a lot of self-compassion, I have no doubt that you're going to navigate it successfully and with more ease and more joy, because you're not alone in this journey. Maybe you're going to implement that buddy system. Maybe you're going to try the drop down, or a little bit of preparation. You're going to have that plan in place. You're going to have some things delegated, and those boundaries are really clear and set now. So you can take a deep breath, give yourself that grace, and know that you are doing your best. And that is more than enough, like so much more. You are doing so much, and that is enough. I want to thank you so much for joining me for this episode of The Juggle is Real. If you're celebrating Mother's Day as we head into the weekend, I send you so much love. And I hope that you're really doing what it is that you want, and what you desire, and you are listening to yourself And whether that means you're taking a nap, or you're going for brunch, or you're heading out with a friend, or you're just enjoying some extra cuddles and a sip of tea on the couch with the ones that you love the most, it truly is about what you want. So thank you for joining me. If you like this episode, please share with a friend, someone who's navigating this busy time as well. Write me a review on Apple Podcasts, download it, and subscribe wherever you listen. Until the next time, take good care.